ορισμένα από αυτά προσπαθούν να βρούνε τις ρίζες τους. Η Ευτυχία είναι ένα κορίτσι από αυτά τα μικρά. Ήτανε τυχερή και βρήκε την μητέρα της εν ζωή. Στην Ναύπακτο, στην περιοχή της Ναυπάκτου, μάλλον ένα χωριό της Ναυπάκτου. Λοιπόν, αυτά από μένα. Δίνω το λόγο στον κύριο Βόγγολη που θα σας πει 2 λόγια ποια είναι η Ευτυχία. Κύριε Βόγγολη.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear friends, today we have the honor and pleasure to host at the International Hellenic Association Mrs. Linda Carol Trotter, born Eftychia Nula in Stranoma Navpaktias. She was adopted in 1958 as an infant from the Βρεφοκομείο Athinon by American parents. After finding her biological mother and the extended family in Greece in June 2017, Eftychia wanted to help other Greek-born adopted find their biological families. With the help of the minded friends, she founded the Eftychia Project, a United States-based non-profit organization in April 2019. While the original intent was to primarily assist Greek-born adoptees from America, TEP has expanded its scope to include all Greek-born adoptees, regardless of country of adoption, as well as Greek families seeking their children lost to adoption. To date, TEP has reconnected 15 adoptees with their biological families in Greece, with dozens of cases currently active. In addition, TEP launched a DNA kit distribution program in July 2020, aimed at increasing the number of Greeks in Greece and in the DNA pool by providing DNA kits free of charge to Greek adoptees and Greek families seeking their lost loved ones. Since finding her Greek family, Eftychia has traveled to Greece 35 times to visit her family and to do the work of TEP, splitting time between her homes in Franklin, Tennessee, United States of America, and Nafpaktos, Greece. Eftychia and her husband, Bob Trotter, have 2 children, Heather, age 27, and Justin, age 26. They attend the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church of Nashville, Tennessee in America, and services at the Monastery of the Metamorphosis in Nafpaktos, where Bob was baptized Eftychios in October 2018. Bob, a retired firefighter and fire marshal, has found his own way to give back to his wife's beloved Greece. He's co-founder of the Hellenic American Search and Rescue Team in Nafpaktos and the founder of the United States-based non-profit organization Friends of Hellenic Firefighters. Mrs. Eftychia, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come and speak to you today. I appreciate the invitation, as does our organization. And I'm just very happy to be here with all of you today to tell you a little bit about the Eftychia Project, how it came about, and what we do to help Greek-born adoptees and Greek families who are searching for their lost children who have been presumably lost to adoption. I have a PowerPoint that I'd like to share with you as we talk about this today. So I'm going to share my screen. And talk about the Eftychia Project. Basically, I want to tell you that we do many things, but the main four things that we focus on are search, reunion, advocacy on behalf of Greek adoptees, and education. And the things that we actually do to support these missions that we have. I'm just going to briefly touch on the beginnings of the Eftychia project for you. Of course, my American name is Linda Carol Trotter. I was born at Eftychia in Stranoma, a small mountain village in the region of Eftychia in 1958. And I'm just one of thousands of Greek children who were sent abroad for adoption in the scandal-ridden decades of the 1950s and the 1960s. Many of us were sent with very little paperwork and with in a very short period of time. My own adoption was actually accomplished in as little as 4 months, which is really a pretty unheard of timeline in this day and time. I was adopted from the Refugio Athenon. My parents lived in San Antonio, Texas, and I arrived in the USA in October of 1958. The thing about my adoption, the lawyer that my parents used in Greece through the auspices of a Greek priest in San Antonio told them that I was a premature infant, that I only weighed 4.5 pounds, that my mother died in childbirth, and then I went straight to the orphanage from the hospital when I got out of the hospital. I had no real desire to find my biological family for many years because I had wonderful parents. And unfortunately, many of my fellow adoptees did not have good parents because there was little or no oversight by either the American government or the Greek government with these adoptions. So some children went to homes with very unsuitable parents who might be alcoholics, who might be too old, they might be in their 50s, they might have mental disorders, and nobody really oversaw any of that. So it's a pretty sad part of Greece's history. When my adoptive parents passed away, God rest them, my dad in 2015 and my mom in 2017, I felt very alone and decided I was going to search for my biological family in Greece because as far as I knew, the only blood relatives I had were my 2 children. So through a miraculous set of circumstances, I found my biological family in Greece in June of 2017. I actually knew where they were on June the 1st. On June the 8th, I had my very first phone call with my biological mother, with a priest and his wife translating for us there in the village. They spoke English. And a week later, my daughter and I were on a plane to see them. I ended up falling in love with everything Greek and Greece. I love the culture, the language, the heritage, the food, obviously. And I dearly love my Greek family. And I wanted every adoptee to have that closure, to feel that excitement that I felt when I found my family. And many of these adoptees have been searching for 20, 30, 40 years. And when I started to search, I find mine in 3 months. So a miracle, truly. But I wanted others to feel that. So in April of 2019, we founded the Eftychia Project in order to help adoptees however we could to do that, to be able to experience the closure and the peace of finding your roots, of finding your identity, that identity that was literally stolen from you as a baby. So to tell you a little bit about who we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization designated as a public charity and tax exempt by the IRS. We assist and support free of charge. We never ask Greek-born adoptees or Greek families who are searching for money of any kind or donations of any kind. We help them and support their searches for their roots, and Greek families who are searching for the children that they lost to adoption. We provide guidance and advice and facilitate searches for and reunions with biological family, as well as post-union and ongoing reunion and ongoing support. And we have a DNA kit distribution program, which we started ourselves by just buying some DNA kits and thinking when these Greek families began coming to us for help, looking for the children they had lost, we thought, well, maybe if they do DNA, they'll match with some of us. So we started out by buying kits, and people who would ask how they could help, we said, well, donate some kits to us. And about a year ago, the people at MyHeritage DNA found out that we were doing this on our own. They wanted to have a formal collaboration, and now they are providing us with DNA kits, which is really awesome. So we have that going on. And one thing that was very important to us, and especially right now, we advocate on behalf of all Greek-born adoptees and with the Greek government for the four things that are most important to us is like for transparency, for access to our records, our adoption, orphanage, and birth records, to see if perhaps the government will collaborate with us on a DNA database for adoptees and families. And very importantly, at this point, making sure that our Greek citizenship for all Greek-born adoptees is reaffirmed, is recognized again for us. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. We have a fabulous board of directors. These people work tirelessly behind the scenes. You see me a lot because I'm in Greece all the time, and I'm the one who's generally there. But these people are indispensable to us. Our vice president, Panayota Brisiotis, who is more fondly known as Tula. She's actually, her Greek family is looking for two brothers who have been lost. They believe they were taken in an illegal adoption scheme by the same doctor in Greece. And that's still an ongoing search. Tula lives in Kyparissia in the Peloponnese. Merrill Jenkins, who is a dear friend and is also our treasurer. He was known in the orphanage as Mitsos Dimitrios. He came from the orphanage in Patra. He's on what is now an 11-year search for his family, and we are helping him with that search currently. And lastly, our secretary, Dimitrios Christou, who was Elias Ioannou before he was adopted in Greece. He was adopted from Athens. Possibly at Mitera, because we've gotten some recent information. So everybody that's involved with the Eftychia project on the board of directors is either a Greek adoptee that's searching or a Greek family that's searching. And so we have a lot of great experience on this board of directors. We have a lot of people ask us, what we do, and then we get a lot of requests from people. We get a lot of requests, I want to be a member of the Eftychia project. Well, the Eftychia project isn't a Facebook group. We're a nonprofit organization that has a Facebook page, so we don't have membership. And membership in a group of any kind isn't required to get help from us. We'll help anybody, regardless of whatever group or page you're affiliated with. Well, anybody who's a Greek adoptee, anybody who's a Greek family, anybody that has that need, they're welcome to ask us for help, and we'll certainly respond. We always say that if you have an interest in this, please follow our Facebook page and visit our website, which is www.theeftychiaproject.org for the latest news and updates. Our scope is limited to Greek-born adoptees. Those are Greek adoptees born in Greece and who either were adopted abroad or remained in Greece, and Greek families in Greece who are searching for their children. We don't have the resources to allocate to a lot of other searches. There's a lot of people that, like, for example, great-grandpa migrated from Greece to the US, left and went back to Greece, and we lost track of him. That's not something that we can help with. Or you just happen to do DNA, and now you found out you're 25% Greek, and you want to try to find who your Greek family is in Greece. That's not something that we can do, but we do get a lot of requests like that. We do try to say for those kinds of situations to join the Greek genealogy groups on Facebook. There's many of them: Hellenic Genealogy Geek, Greek Ancestry and History, Hellenic Genealogy Resources, DNA Greek. There's several Greek pages that are for adoptees as well, that are on Facebook. And also the Hellenic Red Cross has a tracing service that if you actually know some information about the relative you're looking for, name and maybe birth date, or maybe where they might have been in Greece, you can contact them to get that information. So I hope in the future we're able to expand, especially to those people that do DNA and find out they're half Greek and then realize that they have a Greek parent and they were perhaps born and adopted in the US, and they just happen to have a Greek parent, and maybe one day we can help with that, but it's just we don't have the resources to allocate to more than what our scope is. In searching, we generally provide guidance and support, advice to adoptees and biological families, and we try to provide the tools and resources for obtaining their immigration files or court, orphanage, and birth records from Greece. Immigration files are available here in the U.S., so we have some tools for people with step-by-step instructions how to do that and how to ask for various things. We actually started a brand new private group on Facebook called Forgotten Children of Greece. And it's for Greek adoptees, Greek-born adoptees and Greek families who are searching. They can ask to join the group. And we have a files section. We upload all of these resources that we have, the instructions for obtaining various files, the addresses and the people to contact at all the various orphanages in Greece, and things of that nature, and other important documents that we think people need. We post adoptee and family stories on our Facebook page to help facilitate. We have also connections with the members of the news media in Greece and who post stories and publicize the aims of our organization. We facilitate contact between adoptees and their biological families if they want us to. There's a lot of adoptees that don't speak any Greek because they weren't raised by Greek parents, as I was not raised by Greek Americans. So I've had to learn Greek, and it's a very difficult language, but a very beautiful one. So we try to help them with that, because the language barrier makes it really difficult for all of us. And then, of course, we provide the DNA kits free of charge to Greek families in Greece and to adoptees that have need for one. For reunions, we participated in several, and so we kind of provide advice for that about how to approach that. If the adoptee wants, we'll help facilitate the reunion. Will be requested in whatever role they want us to serve in. I've several times picked them up at the airport, taken photos for them, so they don't have to worry about that in the middle of meeting family, and that way they have photos of something they'll cherish for a very long time. We provide post-reunion support. That is, if they need us to take something to the family in Greece, or the family wants to send them something, we kind of try to do stuff like that. We actually try to help with the language barrier as well, try and make a phone call to the family for them if they need something or whatever. So we try to encourage them, though, to gradually become self-sufficient in their contacts, because eventually you're going to have to interact with your biological family on your own. So we totally support and suggest that they start to learn some Greek so they can at least communicate with their families in some way. Even though these days a lot of families do have a member or two that speak English, it's always, you need to know your native language, I believe. One thing that we really are pushing right now is our advocacy and activism on behalf of all Greek-born adoptees based on our value statement, because we believe that the knowledge of your roots and your biological family origin is a basic human right of all adoptees. We want to know where we came from. We believe that Greek-born adoptees and Greek families are entitled to transparency from the Greek government and all of the Greek adoption-related institutions and organizations, both public and private, because there's, the Greek government to this day has never really ever acknowledged that we really exist. They haven't really come out and said, wow, we acknowledge these adoptions were done under some dubious circumstances, and we're really sorry about that, and we want to make it, we want to make amends for that, so we want to help you guys as quickly as possible. And that's one thing that they, would be a welcome thing, that they would be transparent about these. We believe that we're entitled to unfettered access to our records. That's been a very difficult thing in the past, and it got a little easier a few years ago, and now it's difficult again. So that's one thing we're really working at, trying to get some consistent way of getting records and making it easier for us to get those. We believe everybody's entitled to their Greek citizenship, because we were all born in Greece to Greek parents, and we were sent away through no fault of our own. I am lucky enough to have mine, but that's only because I was actually my birth was registered by my biological mother, and I was also registered on the family registration. So that made mine a little bit easier. However, it still took me 2.5 years, and I had to go to court to change my name, which took 14 months. So it's a little bit of a process, and that shouldn't be an issue for any of us. We were all sent away with Greek passports from Greece that said we were Greek citizens, and that shouldn't be an issue. And I will hazard a guess to say that the majority of us that were adopted from Greece probably love Greece more than a lot of people that grew up there. It's in our blood, and we can't help it. We also believe we're entitled to some sort of establishment of a database, a DNA database, where families and adoptees can deposit their DNA and be matched up if they match. So that's another thing that we shouldn't have to be doing all of this. The government should certainly participate in that. Where we are with our advocacy at this point, we initially received back about May, a year ago, we were put in contact with MP Stathis Konstantinidis of Gonzani, who's a member of the parliament. He's been very helpful to us, actually facilitated some appointments with some government officials. We actually have received the support of the Greek ambassador to the United States, Madam Alexandra Papadopoulou. She facilitated an appointment with the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs to talk about our orphanage and birth records, to discuss how we might get that in a streamlined, consistent way, because every orphanage does their own thing. One will give you records and it's not very difficult, and the others will not answer their phones or not reply to emails, or they'll refuse to give you records and have all kinds of excuses. So that's been a very difficult thing for a lot of people, because we deserve to know, we deserve to have our records, because that gives us the clues to our identity. We did have a meeting with the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs for Diaspora Greeks, Andreas Katsaniotis, on November the 8th of 2022. And he and Mr. Margaritis, who was the head of the diplomatic cabinet, were both there. They both pledged their support, and they've been very supportive with our issues and our aims. We met with the Minister of the Interior, Makis Voridis, on February the 7th. And had a very long meeting, and it was somewhat productive, I suppose, but we didn't get the answers we really wanted. So we're still working on that. We then again in February, later in February, we met with the Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, Donna Michailidou, who was very sympathetic to our cause, who was very kind, who was very supportive. And we asked her at that meeting if she would be in favor of a committee to study all of these issues for Greek adoptees and get them settled once and for all. So she said yes, she would be, and asked us to provide a proposal to have a committee. So we did. We submitted a proposal on April the 14th. And on September the 7th, we had a meeting with her assistant, and they have decided to accept our proposal and move forward with the committee. So now we're waiting on them to select the rest of the committee members, and we're very excited that finally it looks like something's starting to happen. The other thing that we've done is we have a petition on change.org called Justice for Greek-Born Adoptees Now, and I've got the link to it there. We would love for everybody we'd love to have everybody's support for this. So if you guys would go there and sign the petition, we would very greatly appreciate it. All right, as far as education goes, we've had various programs that we worked with. We have Greek adoptee conversations, which we haven't had for a few months now because we've been busy with some other things. We will restart those soon. It's where we get together and we have a Zoom call, and we invite adoptees and families, and we talk about various things. Our advocacy and activism we talk about. We have Greek coffee hour, where we have Greek adoptee and family stories. And some of the Greek adoptee stories are very tragic that they tell us. I mean, they're very sad because they didn't go to a good family in America, and they had a very difficult life. And so for them, this search is probably even more pressing than for some of us that did have wonderful parents. So it's very sad when you hear all of these stories from people who struggled and still do. We've also talked about the search for Roots and Reunion to give resources and tools for people to use. We have another feature called Greek Word of the Day, which is courtesy of the Alexandria Institute in Athens, a Greek language institute. And I have personally taken lessons from them. Great bunch of people, and they're the reason I'm progressing some in my Greek now. So it was a great way to find, and they have offered to help us with this Greek word of the day feature, which when you click on it, they actually say the word. So they teach people how to pronounce things. And they've also offered to help us with deciphering old Greek handwriting, because they are very, the head teacher there is an expert in that. So he's very good about deciphering any kind of documents that Greek adoptees have that are difficult to read, that are handwritten. We have the Eftychia Project YouTube channel, which the link for that is in another slide, where we post any of our videos. Like any of these Greek adoptee conversations are posted there. Our Greek Adoptee Reunion Palooza, which was our online kind of Greek adoptee reunion that we had during COVID. So those are there. There's other news videos where the Eftychia Project was mentioned. Also, The Lost Children of Cold War Greece, which is a wonderful documentary that was produced by Sofia Papaioannou for Alpha TV in 2019. And that'll tell you a lot more of the story of the adoption. So if you go there to the YouTube channel, you can watch it. It's also on our Facebook page. But it's an amazing documentary, and will give you much more background about these adoptions that we went through. We have a lot of webinars and events that we've done. We've done My Heritage Facebook Live. We did one for Greek ancestry. We've done it for the Second International Greek Ancestry Conference. We actually had the first annual Greek adoptee reunion, August 5th and 6th this year in Nashville, Tennessee. Since COVID's over, now we could have it in person. We had a wonderful turnout of Greek adoptees from all over the United States, some from as far away as Alaska, that came to Tennessee for this reunion. And we had a wonderful time of learning. We had great speakers. We had Sam Williams, who's a genealogist, who spoke to us about DNA and all the intricacies of that, and how to contact your DNA matches, which is very important for a lot of adoptees who have no paperwork. And we had Carol Kostakos Petronic, who who is part of Greek ancestry, and who came to talk to us about records we can find in Greece and how to get them, either online or actually from the KEP or from the municipality. And she went through all of that for us, which is very important for us to be able to find some of our perhaps records of grandparents or whatever. And as I say, we just started and we're going to have the second annual Greek adoptee reunion. It's scheduled for October of 2023 in Greece. And everyone that was at the first annual reunion, they're all ready to come to Greece for that. So we hope to have a huge turnout for that. It'll also be accessible to Greek adoptees that are in Greece and to Greek families there. So they'll be able to come and participate with us. And then, as I mentioned, we started a companion Facebook group for the Eftychia Project. Since you can't be a member of the Eftychia Project to join that, we have a companion Facebook group that you can be a member of, called the Forgotten Children of Greece. And if you're a Greek adoptee or a Greek family member, you're welcome to join the page, as are their family members, because a lot of adoptee family members, this search for family doesn't just affect adoptees, it affects their whole family, because your roots are their roots. Your history is their history. So like my children are very involved in all of this. My husband's involved in this. And most adoptees, they have family members, extended family that are involved in this. And also adoptees that have found family, some of their family members belong to this group as well. These are some photos from the first annual Greek adoptee reunion. A lot of you may not know, but Nashville is known as the Athens of the South, mainly because we have many institutes of higher learning, and we have a lot of use of Greek architecture, Greek columns in the houses and all that sort of thing. But we also have the world's only full-size replica of the Parthenon. And as you see in the middle there, that's a picture of a group of the adoptees. Actually, there's a few of them missing from that photo because they weren't able to go to the Parthenon with us. Had some other commitments, but that's the Parthenon in Nashville, Tennessee. And of all places that I could possibly live, I wound up here in the Athens of the South, which I think is pretty appropriate. And you see some other pictures there of us dancing, of people watching Carol give a presentation. We did have one very popular activity, which was posters, that each adoptee came and they made a poster basically of their adoption and their life. And we kind of we called it the Greek Adoptee Wall of Fame Museum. And we left it up for the 2 days of the reunion, and people loved it. It was one of the most popular activities. People walked around and looked at those posters. It was great to see parts and pictures and documents and stuff of each other's adoptions and lives. So it worked out greatly. And of course, as I said, next year we'll have the reunion in Greece, and we're going to have information about that very, very soon. This is our contact information. We have several emails in ways that people can get in touch with us. We have Greek adoptees. If they're Greek adoptees seeking assistance, they can send to the email greekadopteehelp@theeftychiaproject.org. Greek families can send one to a similar email, greekfamilyhelp@theeftychiaproject.org. For media and other inquiries, we have a separate email. We have a general email that anybody can access. And our website, as I said, is the Eftychia. It's www.theeftychiaproject.org. And whoops, whoa, I just did it. Look what I did. I am not a good girl. There we are. Okay, it's back. We moved. I'm sorry. I'm technologically challenged, so sometimes I'm not. I hit a wrong button, and I apologize. Okay, there we are. We're back there. So we have a Facebook page. We have the YouTube channel, which is there. We have Instagram. We have Twitter. So we're fairly social media savvy. I want to just stress to all of you that the support of Greek people and American people together is so important for adoptees at this pivotal moment, because we are maybe on the verge of getting the government to recognize us and to actually do something. And as I said, this was an episode Greece wants to forget about. It's been swept under the rug for decades. And now newspapers and other media people are starting to bring a lot of this to light. There's a lot of work going on right now by various groups and organizations that are supporting this. So it's important that everybody realizes what happened, that we were all adopted, and most of us in a little bit circumstances that were maybe a little irregular. I have, in my own case, I have a piece of paper from the orphanage director that's stamped and signed by all the appropriate government people that says, my name is Eftychia. I'm a foundling of unknown parents. I was adopted by my parents. My birthday is this, blah, blah, blah. Says all of that. And yet, when I got my immigration file from the US government, which had in that file is that piece of paper that says I don't have any parents. And right next to it is my adoption decree that says I'm the illegitimate daughter of Eftychia Nula. So I can't be both of those. So at the very least, there's a little bit of fraud going on here. You know, I mean, it's a little bit of, it's not because the lawyer told my parents the lie that my mother died in childbirth. When I found my family, I found out none of that was true. My mother was alive. She didn't die in childbirth. It made it really convenient, you know, for the lawyer to tell my parents this. So in my case, that's just one example. I could tell you hundreds of other examples of things that don't seem quite right about some of our adoptions and some of our paperwork. Some of these orphanages don't want to give you your paperwork, or they say they don't have any paperwork, which is probably unlikely. But there's just a lot of obstacles. You've got the language barrier. You've got that kind of resistance to this. And then you've got people wanting to cite the GDPR, that they can't give you information, but the GDPR doesn't apply when you ask for your own. So adoptees are struggling and to make way through all of this, and they're all starting to find their voices and talk about this now. So any support that we can get, we're deeply appreciative of, and especially from the Greek people themselves, who, when we go to Greece and tell people, oh, we were adopted, and we explain our situation, most of them are almost overly eager to help us and to support us. So we appreciate the opportunity today to talk to you about the Eftychia Project and what we do, and especially on behalf of Greek adoptees everywhere. Thank you for listening and for your attention, and for giving us your support by asking us to speak today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Eftychia. And congratulations for such great information useful for adoptees in the world. And now we move on to part B of the questions. Raise your electrical hand to have the floor. Please tell us your status and also where are you talking to us from. I accept you to raise your hand, your electrical hand, to give the floor. Has anybody any question? I don't see anyone to raise his hand. Any questions, please? Yes, Mr. Grubos, the floor is yours. Your microphone, Mr. Grubos.
I did. Thank you. I would like to congratulate Ms. Linda Carol Trotter for giving us such an enlightening presentation, which is very, very useful for the Greek homogenia, diaspora, for the Hellenism, for all the Hellenismo. I would like if you can go back, sorry, Linda, to show me or show us when you met Mr. Andreas Katsaniotis. I believe there, if I'm correct or wrong, there was a date of November 2022. And
It was 21. It's a typo.
Okay,
Sorry.
but I would like to ask you if I saw it correctly or not.
Yeah, it says 20. It says 22, but it was 21. It was
Yeah.
it was last year.
I wanted to check my eyes if I did see. So for your own, of course, information would be very nice to have it the right date. But
yeah, I actually noticed it when I said it. I said, you know, when you get in this, when you're working on things and you're in the same year, you're like, wait, it's not. And I realized it when I said it in the presentation. Wait, that's 21, not 22.
that's okay. But
Yeah.
as I said, I wanted to. But again, to congratulate you. I lived in the United States about 22 years, and I have many friends in USA, and I think not only Icha, but each one of us should help you, and I'm ready, and you can contact me in any case that I can provide you any help or any assistance throughout the USA that I have, as I said, many, many friends. But again, congratulations. You are doing a great job. Continue, and I'm sure the times that are coming are difficult. So my question is, how do you see to continue this difficult road, however rewarding road, into the future, and where are you going to be in Greece next year? I presume it's going to be in Athens. And which time the best could be, more or less around summer month. It would be nice to know it, and if we are welcome to come. So the question is how you plan some of your activities. Would be nice to know. Let us know. And that reunion, the second reunion, if I understand, in Athens, it would be nice for us to help. And I am at your service. Anything I can do, let us know place and time next year, and we will try to be there. I will.
I appreciate that very much, and all Greek adoptees appreciate.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the president and Mr. Voggolis. I am Petros Grubos in Greek, or Grumbos.
Your status.
That's all right. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. in my status, I am an emeritus professor of electrical engineering and computer engineering of the university in Patras, where I lived for the last 32 years after I returned from United States, where I went 18 years old and I came back at 42.
So you're in Patras now?
I am in Patras now. I live with my
I'm your
family.
neighbor. I'm your neighbor. We recently bought a home in Nafaktos because the majority of my family lived there. So when I'm coming back to Greece next week, and I'll be there probably for about 7 weeks. So we'll have to have a coffee.
Please, I'll be happy and to have a coffee, and why not drink? And
okay. Thank you,
Great.
Mr.
Thank you so much.
Grubos. Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to the Professor John Hatzopoulos.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, congratulations, Lida, for your effort, your work, and your presentation. It's very interesting. I am Professor Emeritus from the University of the Aegean and former professor of Fresno State, California. I was there for 9 years as a professor. So I came back to Greece in about 1989, and I continued with the University of the Aegean. Well, in this forum, IHA, International Hellenic Association Forum, we produced some education material, which you may be interested concerning the Greek education. And we have some 14 lectures in Greek and 10 lectures in English that you may be interested. I live in the island of Lesbos permanently, and well, it is a little bit away from Athens, but anything I can do, okay, to help, also I would be available. And I like to support all such activities concerning the Greek Hellenism, and particularly in the education part. Thank you.
I appreciate that. If you can send us the information about the lectures in English, well, both of them in Greek and English, because some adoptees were raised by Greek Americans and understand Greek. That would be great, because that way we can learn more about our native culture, our heritage, our language, our history. And that's important. It's very important to me. I tell everybody when somebody calls me a Greek American, I tell them, I'm not a Greek American. I'm Greek. I was born there. So, but I would like to have them. If you can send the information to the Eftychia project, that would be great. And we can post it on our Facebook page and on our website for people, so they have the information to maybe listen to these lectures if they'd like to. That'd be great. And we appreciate your offer of help. You're very kind. We really appreciate it.
I will send it to you right away.
Okay. Yes, and also if my friend from Patra will send me his contact information, I will contact him when I come back to Greece next week.
I will, and I'm sure we can get
Peter, you have not the floor, Peter.
No, I said I will.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Lida. I don't see anybody to raise his hand, so I'll give the floor to the president, Mr. Rigos.
I'd like to say a few words to the Eftychia project members. We are an organization 503C with headquarters at Delaware of United States. The way we work is by creating various projects. One project which is running right now full speed is the project of the border islands. We try to renovate the school of the island Pserymos because it's closed since 2009 and it's in very bad shape. And we have a small kid by the name Panormitis, and we want to make it ready, this school for Panormitis. And we try to collect money because the cost will be very high, around 90 to 100,000 euros. And I speak now to the members of IHA. I would appreciate very much the members who did not pay their dues to pay their dues, because without money, we cannot start the project. We have a technical person who gives us advice. He's a civil engineer, and he told us, unless we collect all the money, we cannot start. Because if we start, we cannot say to the constructors, stop now because we want to collect more money. We have to have first the money and then we start. So it's very important, every member of IHA to pay their dues, which is very small, 10 euros for you for Greece and 25 for you outside Greece. And of course, if somebody wants to pay more than the dues, he is welcome. I have nothing else to say. We thank very much Eftychia for the nice presentation. The presentation is available at the site, at the Facebook of the National Hellenic Association, and Eftychia can share it at your own Facebook. That's it. I have nothing else. Good night to everybody. And I pass the mic back to the moderator.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now I give 1 minute to Mrs. Lida to express herself about the foundation with 2 words.
With 2 words? Oh my gosh. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for having me here. I appreciate very much that you allowed me to come and speak to your group. And we look forward to being able to collaborate with the members of the group to help all Greek-born adoptees and Greek families achieve their aims, not only with their searches, but with the government as well. And thank you so much for being there. I think someone still has a question.
Yes, Miss Sinis has raised her hand. Yes, Mrs. Sinis, you have the floor.
Okay. Hello. This is Martha Sinis. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. Miss Linda, congratulations. You do a great job. Very important. I don't know, probably you know, years ago there was a wonderful program in Greek TV, Pame Paketo. Are you aware of that?
I was. I know they got canceled, and then they went to another station and got canceled too.
Because a lot,
they were not particularly helpful to a lot of Greek adoptees because they want you to. Many Greek adoptees that I personally know sent their story to them to try to find their families, but they wanted to know the birth mother's name, where she was from. They wanted you to basically hand them the information so they could just make a phone call or 2 and find them. If they don't have information, then they don't do, they tell you they don't do research and they don't, you know, they're not really
I have the opposite opinion,
so,
because I followed, you know, a lot of programs, and a lot of adoptees, they knew nothing, and they found their roots. But it's very important.
The ones in America have had more difficulties, I believe, because they're, you know, probably easier for them to call people in Greece than it is there. But I do know several people that tried to get help and didn't get any. My own family went to Pame Paketo like 3 different times, and every time they went, they told them they didn't have enough information. and they had my
Really?
name, they had, you know,
Hmm.
my registration, they had my birth certificate and all of that, and they still didn't help them.
That's
So
strange because
yeah, I mean, but
I
that's,
know,
you know,
you know, I have,
that's been our experience for most
yeah.
American, a lot of American adoptees. They want the information, and like, we don't know a lot of us don't know who our birth mothers are. You know, if I
Yeah.
had gone to them, they wouldn't do anything because they don't know who my birth mother is. So I know a lot of people were frustrated with that. I know they did help some people, but some people
Yeah.
had some
Yeah.
information they could give them that made it much easier for them to find the people they were looking
Yeah.
for. So I'm not saying they haven't done good things, because I think they
A
have.
lot. Yeah.
You know, but I think they also have kind of shortchanged some of the American adoptees because we don't live there. So I think that's kind of been the thing.
Okay.
I do know Nicolouli's done a lot. I mean, she doesn't do much about with adoptees, but she does occasionally. And I had a personal friend who was on her show, and he was on there for quite a long period of time, for the whole hour, I think 3 hours of the show. They had a lot of people call in, and she did try to help a lot with that, and we greatly appreciated that. You know, there isn't one now though. That's, you know, there's nothing on TV to do that at the moment. So maybe
Right.
they'll come up with another one at some point.
I hope, because I want to find some
thank you,
people.
Lida.
And also,
And
I want
Miss,
to, can I say
Mrs.
something?
Siris, you
Yes.
finished your question?
Yeah, I also wanted to ask her if she knows. I know a lot of times people had the twins, and they were told that one of the twins were dead, but you know, they were alive. They gave them for adoption, even in Greece or in other countries.
Yeah, that we've run across quite a few stories. The families in Greece that have come to us, there's quite a few stories that we have of people that ask for help who were a twin. One of the
Right.
twins supposedly died, but usually it's after 3 days. Like, oh, 3 days later, sorry, the baby died. There's no
Yes.
birth certificate. There's no death certificate. They were never given the body of the twin to bury. The hospital or the doctor, oh, we'll take care of it. We already buried it with all the other dead babies, or we put the baby in asbestos already, or whatever. They always had an excuse not to show them the body. So that's very widespread across Greece. Like, I believe that there's many more cases of that than what we're actually, you know, what people actually think. I think there's a lot more of those cases.
I'm aware of some relatives,
Okay,
you know, that happened to them. So
don't continue conversation, please.
no, it's okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll stop you here.
Thank you, Lida.
And I'll give Mr. Grubos for a while just to ask a question if he has question.
Yes, sir. The question is, what was the result of the meeting with the under Minister, Mr. Andreas Katsaniotis, because Andreas Katsaniotis is from the district of Achaia. What was the follow-up, since you talk about November 21? The question is the follow-up. And since you are going to be in the area of Nafpaktos and Achaia for quite a few weeks, maybe you should try to meet him in person, because he comes every weekend in Patras. So my question is, did you have a support, a follow-up? Are you in contact with his office and his people? Have you got anything since then? If not, by coming to Patras or to Greece, it's an opportunity for you, if you wish, to meet him. And I would recommend that. So question and recommendation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, we've been in contact with his office and with Mr. Margaritis, the head of the diplomatic cabinet. So we've been in contact with them. They offered us their full support. You know, until we were able to get the committee to study all these issues, there wasn't a lot else they could do. You know, there's not much else we could do at that moment. So, but we do have their support, and I am in contact with them. So I periodically can give them updates and whatnot. I have not actually personally talked to Minister Katsaniotis. It's usually through emails with Mr. Margaritis when I send stuff to them. But yeah, I would love the opportunity to talk to the minister again. It would be great.
Thank you very much, Lida. And now I want you to say good night to everybody and thank everybody who attend the lecture. Thank you.
Kalinikta, ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Χάρηκα πολύ. Ελπίζω τα λέμε σύντομα.
Okay.
Πολύ σύντομα. Στην
Thank you.
Πάτρα.
Thank you. Good
Καληνύχτα.
night to everybody. Thank you very much.
Καληνύχτα to everybody.